What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Crypto Crossroads. What if I told you that Hedera Hashgraph made a strategic partnership with a project called Swarm Markets to be able to tokenize stocks and gold? Would you believe that? Well, let me show you guys the proof. But before we get started, do me a quick favor and hit the like and subscribe button so that we could get the show started. All right, guys. So for a while, I've been looking at Hedera Hashgraph. It's one of the projects that I believe are going to do well in the long run. There's ETFs on the horizon that we're expecting. I believe there's two ETFs that were filed, and now it's moving on to increasing the liquidity in the stock market by tokenizing them with this company called Swarm Markets, right? So let's make our way to Twitter and see that post by Hedera Foundation, where it stated that Hedera and Swarm Markets are going to be bringing tokenized stocks like Apple, Tesla, and gold natively to the network, right? And that was posted on August 15, 2025. So that was 2 days ago from today, which is August 17, 2025. Now, it was a thread posted by the Hedera Foundation, and as you guys can see, they state that this initiative allows for compliant asset backed instruments to be held and managed directly on Hedera, and in turn opens new opportunities for treasuries, institutions, and developers to diversify portfolios and drive adoption, right? So let's do this. Let's make our way to the Hedera Foundation website and read the article in its entirety. So, as you guys can see, highlighted in red, the article reads Hedera Foundation today announced a strategic collaboration with Swarm, a real world asset protocol, to launch tokenized stocks on Hedera Network. With this launch, equities like Apple, Tesla, and MicroStrategy will be made available on chain, which are backed 1-to-1 ratio, insolvency protected, DeFi compatible, and accessible to both retail and institutional investors. Issue under Swarm's approved EU prospectus regulation, this marks a major step in bridging traditional finance with decentralized finance. So that is that is not something that surprises me. I'm glad that Hedera Hashgraph is doing that with this project Swarm, because it's only going to allow Hedera to expand in both the traditional and emerging markets, such as the cryptocurrency market. So now they will be tokenizing stocks, which will increase the liquidity of the stocks. And I'm just wondering if the people will be able to buy like fractions of these stocks, which will lead to the increase of liquidity, right? And comes to we come to find out that Swarm is actually licensed in the Europe region, so that's good to know. Now let's move on to the second paragraph. Through this collaboration, Hedera users can leverage a redemption pool, enabling instant redemptions of tokenized stocks, bypassing the traditional market's T plus 2 settlement delay. This is made possible by Swarm's automated infrastructure for bringing securities on chain, where a smart contract on Hedera can trigger a buy or sell order in traditional markets in real time during market hours. Once executed, the fiat value of the underlying collateral is delivered back to the user in stablecoins directly on chain. All right, so that's that again. That's pretty bullish. You'll be able to redeem tokenized stocks and then get stable coins in return. So this is all about real world assets, and one of the biggest real world assets that exist today in the market are actually stable coins, right? That are actually back uh, from a 1-to-1 ratio with fiat, right? Those stable coins are considered real world assets. So, to give an example, USDC would be a considered a real world asset. So that's cool that this partnership is integrating tokenized stocks, and also stablecoins. Now let's move on. This approach prioritizes utility and user experience, giving Hedera users confidence that their tokenized assets can move freely and easily between blockchain and traditional financial rails. Hanla Hoffman, Director of Financial Markets and Sustainability at the Hedera Foundation, said, "We chose to work with Swarm because of the regulatory credibility and technical readiness to make tokenized stocks usable across DeFi. The redemption pool mechanism is a novel user centric solution that creates true exit liquidity, and we're proud to be the first to support it as part of our strategy to bring real volume and utility to the Hedera network." All right, so let's pause right there. There's two things that stood out to me, right? One of them is that Swarm is compliant with regulations, and it has a technology ready to make tokenized stocks, uh, have liquidity across all DeFi platforms. So that's good because we know that uh, for big money to come into the market, being institutions, they will want to have partnerships with projects that are legit, right? The projects that have licenses and that offer KYC. And I know, again, I probably said this before, a lot of people want DeFi to be this um, ecosystem where you don't have any authority, right, ruling anything in the DeFi space. But in all reality, for DeFi to truly be accepted throughout the markets, in my opinion, you're going to need some type of regulation, and that includes KYC, right? Now, the second thing that stood out to me is that the director of the financial market of the Hedera Foundation stated that Hedera Network is one of the first projects to support Swarm Market. And to me, that kind of makes me, without knowing too much about Swarm Market, it makes me bullish on Swarm. It makes me believe that it's super early, even though if I'm correct, it was the token came out in 2021 or 2022. But the fact that Hedera Hashgraph is one of the first net projects to support that protocol from Swarm makes me extremely bullish on Swarm, even though I haven't taken a good look at it. But I did see some things that drew my attention that we're gonna cover later in this video. So let's move on to the next paragraph. The article states this integration will unlock sophisticated financial applications across the Hedera ecosystem. The tokenized assets enable new use cases, including DAO treasury management, on chain lending strategies, and advanced collateration structures, driving deeper utility and adoption for both institutional and community players. So let's pause right there. You know, apparently, through this integration, there's going to be some type of structured products centered around these assets, right? So that's going to be really good because you'll be able to, for example, you'll be able to borrow or lend against these assets. So that is one tech or one strategy that people might use to lower their taxes, right? So for example, let's say they buy an Apple stock, right? And it went up like a 4x. To my understanding, this partnership will allow that investor, instead of selling that and cashing out his 4x, they will be able to borrow against that 4x, that asset, and get a percentage of the value without having to pay taxes on that loan. So I can see that becoming a very important strategy and tool in the DeFi space, especially here with Swarm and Hedera Hashgraph. Let's move on. Philip Piper, co-founder of Swarm, said, "Tokenized assets need more than just blockchain infrastructure. They need real usability and trust." Facts, that's true. By combining Hedera's performant EVM compatible network with our compliant tokenization platform. We're enabling a new model for accessing global markets directly from your wallet, right? So you won't need an exchange. You could do it directly from your wallet, which is huge in the DeFi space. Let's move on. The article continues and it states liquidity is the hardest part of launching any new product, and by structuring redemption and issuance via smart contracts, we make traditional market depth usable on chain from day one. And I like that as well. And that was stated by Philip, who is a co founder of Swarm. You know, you could have the greatest product in the world, you could have the best technology, but if it's not being used due to poor liquidity, then you essentially have nothing to work with. So, being that Swarm has the technology and it's compliant, it needs Hedera Hashgraph to bring in the liquidity. And as we all know, Hedera Hashgraph has grown into a powerhouse. And it was something that a lot of people doubted. But if you are one of those people that look between the lines and you look with a long-term vision, then it was clear to see the Hedera Hashgraph along with XRP, Stellar, and many other projects, even Ethereum, I'll say, are here to stay, in my opinion. So okay, so that was near the end of the article. Now, what I want to do is, we all know Hedera Hashgraph. I'm dedicating a deep dive series to this project, but since we're covering this collaboration, I think it's only rational that we take a look at the Swarm Market project and his website. So let's go ahead and make our way down there. And as you guys can see, the first look that we get is uh, the stocks that are available through the Swarm Market app, right? You see MicroStrategy, the Coinbase stock, Nvidia, and this other product called Xgold that apparently is available to Swarm X, which is probably a subsidiary of Swarm Markets. Now, let's go on and see these stocks. And all you have to do is connect your wallet, like it was stated previously in the article. So once you actually launch the app, you should be able to see something like this, right? You're able to trade cryptocurrency such as the SMT token, wrap Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and the DAI stablecoin in exchange for stocks. Now it's clear to see that we see the Apple stock, Nvidia, Coupang, Intel, Microsoft, Coin, Tesla, MicroStrategy, BlackRock, and also X Gold, right? So, oh, and even GameStop Corporation, I almost forgot. So I haven't connected my wallet, so I can't tell you guys if this app truly works. But to me, it seems like it's live. Maybe one of these days I'll try it out and confirm it with you guys. But I mean, that's pretty cool. Being able to trade your cryptocurrency for tokenized stocks is looking pretty interesting. Now, I'm not sure if I would do this. Maybe if I were to, I'd probably use a stable coin to acquire some of these tokenized stocks. But that's neither here nor there. So now let's continue to take a look at the website. And you can see that this is self custody and also real time asset verification, and the assets are fully backed and redemption linked to markets. And you see some of the partners such as Chainlink, Fireblocks, Blockdaemon, and also Polygon. All right, so let's continue. Again, it's stated here that this is 24/7 trading on DeFi. The assets are 100% backed. And now, remember, going back to that initial post by the Hedera Foundation, it stated that not only tokenized stocks will be available through the Swarm and Hedera Hashgraph partnership, but also gold tokenization. So as you guys can see at the very top, there's a gold tab on this website. So let's go ahead and click on that. Boom. And what do we see? The new gold standard, unmatched transparency, control, and flexibility for digital gold. And as you can see, one of the two partners of the Swarm market is Brinks, right? And I'm not sure if that's just an American company or if you guys can see them in Europe and other countries, but here in America, Brinks is a company that, to my knowledge, they collect, they pick up, and they also drop off bank money to any company that inquires their services. Now, Phil Oro is actually a company that allows you to invest in precious metals here in the U.S. So that's pretty good. Like from my understanding, Swarm is a product coming from Europe, or I could be wrong. I mean, I got to honestly, I got to take a deeper look at that. But it's compliant in Europe at the very least, right? So now the one, I mean, I'm already feeling bullish on Swarm Market. I don't have any coins, but I was looking through the team, and they seem to have experience. But the team member that kind of drew my attention was Peter Scott, who is the managing director of Swarm, right? And he has been working in the banking industry since 1986 for multiple financial institutions, including Drexner Claymore, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, and Unicredit Group. Now, out of these three, I'm only familiar with one, and that is Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, which I believe is a Japanese uh, financial company. Now, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with Velo Labs and CP Group and even Lightlink, right? So, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group is actually a part owner of True Money, right? Which is owned by Ascend Money, and ultimately it's also owned by Alibaba and the CP Group. And I believe there's other companies that hold a small stake on these company on True Money, but the major stakeholders are CP Group, Alibaba, and Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group. Now, just to show you guys the connections, let me show you a mind map that I created a while ago to illustrate the connections between CP Group, Lightlink, and Velo, which I did not include in this mind map, but I do have it in another one available in my videos and also on Twitter X. But this was a bigger map that I can use to illustrate the connections. So you see CP Group in the middle, right? And beneath it is Ascend Group, which owns Ascend Money, which owns True Money, right? Now, True Money is ultimately owned by three different companies: uh, CP Group, like I mentioned, Alibaba, and also that Mitsubishi UFJ Finance, or whatever it was called. So, no, to my knowledge, Hedera Hashgraph is not connected to either of these projects, or nor Swarm Market is. But one of the workers, or one of the managing director for Swarm, actually worked for Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group. So it kind of makes me lean to the idea that he might have some connections to CP Group, which could indicate a connection between Swarm and also CP Group, and who knows, maybe Hedera Hashgraph, right? Because Hedera Hashgraph is present in Asia as well, where CP Group is prominent. So that is something to keep an eye out for. But overall, this is a very bullish integration between the two projects, because uh, you know liquidity and tokenized stocks are going to become something, is going to become a major milestone for the blockchain space. So that's it for today's video. If you guys found this entertaining and informational, then please do me a quick favor and hit the like and subscribe button. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Just use it for entertainment and research purposes, educational purposes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember that God is good, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.